When you hear the noise of the Tartan Army boys, it's the VGC podcast with me, Jordan Midler, Chris Scullion, and Pete Donaldson. This week, we've got our thoughts on the news of a potential return of Guitar Hero, a new PS5, and is Disney buying EA? Surely not. But first, how are we doing, folks? Chris, how are you?
I'm good. I was ill at the start of the week, but I'm fighting fit. You wouldn't know it to look at me. I've got a fine figure there, man. But yeah, I'm okay now. All good.
Ill as in like sick, or ill as in ill, you know?
Yeah, sadly sick. Not in the kind of the way that the youth of today would say.
Of course, because you're ill every day of the week in the way that the kids say it.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is from my day it would have been fat with a PH, but that's like kind of. When you're overweight anyway, you can't really go with that because people always think you mean the other one.
That's why people call this show woke, because we can't even say that anymore.
It's because we're like barely awake.
Yeah.
We do this in the morning.
Speaking of woke, Pete Donaldson, you're back. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for letting me back on the show. I do watch everyone very carefully for swears and bad taste, but thank you for letting me through the doors. The hallowed doors of the VGC video game podcast.
You just sat on TikTok for an hour while we sit and record that, and you're like, does it look like he's saying something libelous?
Pretty much. I would say that you started the show with a Tartan Army shout. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're playing Gibraltar, lads. Come on.
I mean,
are you getting that excited about a friendly against Gibraltar?
We are. Pete Donaldson, member of the Football Ramble, we are playing Spain. Wales are playing Gibraltar.
Oh shit! Oh nuts! Have I buggered it?
Come on now.
I sorry, I thought Scotland were playing Gibraltar.
I wish we were playing Gibraltar.
I know, we need a point. I'll take Gibraltar.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, of course you are. Yeah, you got to get a point. Oh good God, what is wrong with me? I'm half asleep here.
You're just like Rodri. You're showing the Scottish people just as much respect as he did.
Ignore exactly what I just said there. And good luck against Spain.
Yeah.
An angry Spain that you have poked.
and good luck, Wales. Oh, was that our last night?
They did that against their own will. They beat them. They beat them 4-0. Congratulations, he's 18. What's that clip through Michael Owen like rounding that keeper? But yeah, Scotland, Spain tonight. Let's John McGinn's arse. We are all with you. Something that is similar size to John McGinn's arse was the original PlayStation 5, but thankfully Sony has announced a smaller version. According to Sony, the new PlayStation 5 has been reduced in volume by more than 30% and by weight by 18% and 24% respectively. That is the disc version and the non-disc version, launching this November in the US before rolling out elsewhere over the following months. The new model will come with 1 terabyte of storage for both editions. Now, this is a visual medium podcast, and everyone knows that. So pull over your car, crash it off the side of the M8, pull up a picture of the new PlayStation 5. It comes with 4 separate cover panels, and the top portion has a glossy look. It will retail for $500, which is £480 for the disc drive version. The digital edition will retail for $450, £380. Chris,
yes,
what do you think of this new quote-unquote redesigned PS5?
I don't like it.
Nope.
It looks a bit rubbish. I mean, I still can't really decide whether I like the standard PS5. I like things looking simplistic. I quite like this, how the Series X is just a big cube, like or a rectangular prism, I should say.
Of course.
But I was always thought PS5 had a slightly awkward shape, but I could get over it. But the new one, the fact that you have to buy a 30 quid stand separately just to stand it up, and if you choose not to and you want to lie down, it's not symmetrical, and it's got this weird kickstand thing to keep it up. It's just like horrible. I really don't like it at all.
Chris, to address the evolving needs of players, our engineering and design teams collaborated on a new form factor that provides greater choice and flexibility. The same technology features that make PS5 the best place to play are packed into a smaller form factor, along with a detachable Ultra HD Blu-ray disc drive.
Well, I mean, when you put it like that,
yeah.
This was the collaboration. They literally got the 3D studio design file and just scroll wheeled the size down a little bit. I mean, I don't think I've seen a picture of this thing at all, or side by side with the original. Give me a picture of the new thing with like a pair of big fat man trousers, and you know, going, this is how big I used to be. Like I've not seen this bloody thing.
So that was the strangest part of the announcement, when they didn't roll out here is the comparison photos. Everyone was like, and then when someone, like, as is always the case, they just lined up the size of the USB-C and like saw, and it's really
Nice.
it's really not that different. I think the problem is,
Right.
like, the PS5 is obviously a very strange looking beast. Like, making a redesign and making it look so much like the current PS5, like, I feel like they had an opportunity to go somewhere weird with it. If you remember the PS3 redesigns, like the PS3 Slim, I think is the best looking console they ever put out. And then the Super Slim, which was the one that had like a slidable top, was the worst console they ever put out.
I got the Super Slim. Back in the when I was at one of the Nintendo magazines, that's when the Super Slim came out, and I got to review it for CVG. You need to be careful with my initials here. And so I got to keep that if I reviewed it, and it was like, yeah, it was fine.
Yeah, but this is I suppose we should have been warned when the refined versions of the PlayStation 4 was like, okay, we've got the PlayStation 4 Pro, that's got 3 hamburgers, and if you want the PlayStation 4 Slim, it's 2 hamburgers. So the designs have all changed. Chris, you're a man that buys consoles you don't need. Are you going to get this?
No,
No,
I don't need it.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just like I think what's interesting is that certainly in the US and in Japan, it's also a price increase, which they haven't really noted,
Right.
especially the digital edition. I believe is $50 more expensive now in the US, and they've sneakily not really mentioned that. Why would you like get it?
It's the little stand.
That stand is
costs
made
so
of
much
diamonds,
money
to be fair.
The R&D for the stand. It reminds me of when I bought one of those, those arcade one-up cabinets that were just everywhere. You buy them in every supermarket around Christmas. And I bought one for Christmas, and they wanted to charge me, and it's only like half height,
Yeah.
and to make it like full height, you got to buy an official.
Oh,
box
this is
to
just a
put
big
it
box.
on. And it's like 40 quid. I could not get down B&Q fast enough to make my own. I could not get down there. I made a beautiful box on Christmas Boxing Day.
The only thing I like the gimmick that you can buy it digitally, and then if you decide later you want the disc drive, you can buy it separately. I mean, I wish they'd do that for the Series S, because there's a lot of kind of disc games I'd like to play on my Series S and can't. But other than that, I mean, the only interesting thing is somebody's going to hack that disc drive to turn it into a cheap 4K player for PCs. That's only because it's cheaper than external 4K UHD drives are for PCs. But other than that, it's like, it sounds like it's replacing the existing one anyway. So eventually, basically, if you don't have a PS5 yet and you don't like the look of this new one, you better hurry up and buy one, because it's, once they're all sold out, this is the new normal, as the kids say. But yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how plentiful these detachable disc drives they sell will be, or if it will be a weird like peripheral that you forget exists, and eventually it's like, oh yeah, did you know that the PS5 Slims can do this? But God help you if you actually want this this extendable thing. How much did they say? How much they're charging for the disc drive? That's the question.
They did. The disc drive is $80/100 of your pounds.
Jeez. Wait, what?
For the disc drive?
How does that work?
Why is it $80 and $100?
That's a good question, actually. Why is it more expensive in pounds than it is in
How
dollars?
strong is the dollar at the moment?
Like the console is. Oh, the prices are all over the joint, because the digital edition is like, it's 70 less pounds than it is dollars, but the Blu-ray version is only 20 less than it is dollars.
Expensive. I just make it up as they go along.
Yeah, just like, fuck it. How much
That's got to be like Blu-ray licensing stuff.
Might be it,
or-
because-
But I mean, they own Blu-ray. Like, surely they would be the ones
good
to
point.
be like, we can charge less.
The ones
for
down in Sector 5 won't give us a break.
They're like,
Crying out loud.
I wish we could. I wish we could
That is
charge
weird.
cheaper.
I wonder if there's some sort of tax reason or some sort of reason why maybe an optical drive that has some sort of wild expenses involved in the UK, because That is weird. It is only the disc drive stuff that is notably more expensive in the UK.
So strange.
Bloody.
I'm sure it'll be something that is on PlayStation Direct for about 2 days, and then you can never get it again.
Sounds like it might be something Brexit related. What do you reckon?
Yeah, we can't have optical drives. We're too woke. Yeah,
we'll look at seditious literature on it.
As someone that regularly buys PlayStation paraphernalia, they don't need, like, I pre-ordered that PlayStation Portal, don't need it, so I pre-ordered it. But I need to know.
What are you doing?
I need to know.
The people need to know.
I can tell you now.
Because during the process of reviewing Spider-Man, there was a few moments where my partner was watching a Korean dance program called Street Women Fighter, and I thought, you know what, I could happily be sitting here playing on my PlayStation Portal in 1080p via dodgy Wi-Fi.
Did you not have a tablet or a phone handy? No.
I was sitting on TikTok on my phone. I don't want to be.
I could probably see about 5 different items behind you right now that could do the same job,
certainly,
including the Millennium Falcon.
But yeah, it does nothing for me. I'll leave my PS5 is like on a desk with a lot of airflow because it's. I mean, it's not exactly the oldest console in the world. It'll be 3 years in November or whatever. But it gets so hot and it's so loud, and really obviously I'm an edge case where it's on every day for about 50 hours a day. But still, it's like, if I have to replace this, will I have to go and get one of these ones with the? If I had to replace it, I wouldn't get the one with the disc drive because I own like one PS5 disc. How many physical Xbox games do you? Well, I suppose with back compat, it changes.
That's the thing. It's more the 360 and the Xbox
Mm.
One stuff. I've got a lot of discs, not so many Series X discs, but yeah, it's like obviously I'm a nerd when it comes to old kind of like the Disney Infinity and Lego Dimensions, like the Toys to Life ones. I've got like shelves full of them, and like I can play them on my Series X because you can obviously they're disc games. But I can't play them on the Series S, which is annoying because that's where everything is.
Yeah.
Keep bringing it downstairs every time I want to play it.
I think I have one physical PS5 game, and it is Let's Sing ABBA. So only the very best. Pete, you got any interest in digital only consoles going forward, or do you when you're buying a new game, do you get it digitally, or do you go to the shop?
I'm incredibly impatient, so it's almost always digitally. And I do see the issue when it comes to, you guys spoke very eloquently about games that just aren't available anymore, and having organisations and companies just selling back your nostalgia, selling back these games 5 or 6 times over 20 years. Disc drives are important, but they are increasingly anachronistic, and we're not going to have them. We're just not going to have them. We just got to say goodbye and just sort of go, well, that's the game that we're playing. But I think your guest last week was basically saying that there should be some kind of agreement with the government that companies, if you're unwilling to sell, make games available, you should be relied on by law to just release them for free, which is a beautiful idea, but that's not going to happen either. So I understand why people get so upset about the lack of conventional disc media, but at the end of the day, we all know which direction it's going to go, and we're kind of shouting at the waves rolling, lapping at our feet, unfortunately.
One of the other reasons that a lot of people don't usually touch on is like in terms of just like competition, in terms of pricing, like especially like first party PlayStation games rarely go down in price too much, whereas occasionally you'll get Argos will sell The Last of Us remastered for like 15 quid. I think that's what I got mine for. And it's like, if the discs didn't exist, that would never happen. You'd be stuck with a one PS store price, and
one
that's
place
it,
to get it from. Yeah.
But, yeah.
Think of the shoplifters for crying out loud.
Think of the shoplifters. Finally, someone said
CX.
Someone's finally has the gumption to come out and say think of the shoplifters.
Think of the shoplifters.
That's the thing. Usually, like as you say, Chris, I feel like near Christmas there'll be a day where Argos is just like, we've got too much stock, so every game we have is about £3. Right. Just rush down to where you're at and
we've
get
been
whatever
doing this
want.
for 60 years and we're bad at it. We just take our stock.
It's I think I got Nier Automata from the Argos at Silverburn for about £3 or something like that. And as you say, it's always it's weird times, because if you go on Argos now, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart on PS5 is £60. You could come back the Mora and it could be like 15 quid for no reason, no discernible reason other than one number on a spreadsheet has got higher than the other, and they're like, we need to liquidate all this stock. We're far too much.
burn it down. Do you not think that like it's quite quaint to have the very idea that a disc reads anything off the disc and puts it in the computer nowadays? Because obviously, like, day one patches are the entire game. Nothing ships with anything like, nothing goes gold with anything like the data that is released on the first day that the game is released. So just give us like there's like espresso pods you put in the machine with a little barcode on it, and my espresso machine says, yes, that is a legal Tassimo pod, and I will make you your coffee. Just have like a little barcode and a quaint little piece of cardboard, a little circular cardboard kind of thing.
I thought that Xbox might experiment with that, Chris. You know, the wee memory card slot is on the back of the series consoles. I thought they might, for massive games, instead of like triple discers or something like that, they would just send out the wee squares and you plug that in and you transfer the data. But yeah, it's
a weird one. I'll tell you who had a good idea, and you're going to scoff and sniff at this, right? But
the Dreamcast VMU.
No. The non-existent Intellivision Amico.
Here we go.
Which was meant to...
Tommy Talarico's number one.
Right, so...
Yes.
We've all established now that thing was an absolute bin fire, and that's why it never happened, right? But
sounds like you pre-ordered it, Chris.
I actually did, because I support
Brilliant.
everything, right? Yeah. So I was like, as soon as something's announced, I'll order it, no matter how doomed it clearly is. So I pre-ordered it, and even at one point, when it was blatantly clear that it was going under, they'd said, well, you can buy the 6 launch games now if you want, like physical editions. I was like, all right. So I bought them. So it's like, they'll be worth a pretty penny one day. And what they are, it's the only time I've seen NFTs actually work in a good idea, like, because it's a physical thing in your hand. And what the game is a like a amiibo type chip, like a card with a chip on it. And the chip contains an individual code, like an NFT. And you scan that on your console, and it goes to the shop and downloads the game. And what you can do is when you then give that, if you're done with your game, you give the card to your pal, almost as if you're giving them your game on disc. And when they scan it in their console, the ownership of it transfers to them. And then so it's the only kind of example I've ever seen of an NFT actually making sense, where it can become ownership of a digital thing, but as a physical product that you hand to someone. But of course, it all doesn't matter if the thing actually doesn't come out. It's a total waste of time. So I've got an unopened copy of Evil Knievel, which will never get played.
Speaking of plastic crap that no one needs, Activision CEO hints at a return of Guitar Hero. Activision CEO and notable cartoon slime Bobby Kotick has reportedly hinted that a new Guitar Hero game may be in the works. As reported by Windows Central, there was an internal town hall at Activision Blizzard on Tuesday in which he discussed the state of the company ahead of the imminent acquisition by Microsoft. The absolute state of the company.
That's the word to use.
State of this, man.
During the meeting, Kotick reportedly started discussing how Microsoft's strength in technology research could lead to improvements in the way Activision makes its games. Quote, a big part of what I've seen in Microsoft is research, and they do development in areas that are extraordinary, and so being able to tap into their AI and machine learning capability, the data analytics, new ways of thinking about graphics, I just see unlimited potential for what we do, which is selling Call of Duty skins. Kotick then reportedly added that Activision is uniquely situated as a company because it has the very best franchises in all of video games. Citation needed, we'll come back to that one. Before naming previous Activision games that transformed the industry in the early days, Chris will love this, such as Pitfall, River Raid, Kaboom.
Seminal.
The big hitters.
They're all seminal.
Then, appearing to suggest a new entry in the publisher's successful music series is in the works, he added, the re-emergence of Guitar Hero and other things that would not be possible without the different types of resources, and so, just endless possibilities for the future. Kotick already said earlier this year that he felt a new Guitar Hero game could be made with AI technology. Chris, first of all, do Activision have the very best video game franchises in all of video games?
They've got Tony Hawk.
They do have Tony Hawk.
They've got Crash
They have
Bandicoot.
Tony Hawk.
I don't know why you're putting them in the same bracket there, but
and obviously they've got Call of Duty, and they've got Warcraft, and they've got Candy Crush. So they've got some of the good franchises. I wouldn't say the best, the very best, I think was the quote. They've got.
They're uniquely situated as a company.
Yeah, uniquely situated as a company to never make
we are the only
game
company that has Tony Hawk and Crash Bandicoot. They're uniquely situated.
We can put
Bam Margera 3D models.
We can put Bam Margera in Warzone, and I'm starting the campaign here tonight. Put him in Warzone. His life's a bit of a Warzone at the minute. Get well soon, Bam. The real question is, Chris.
Yes.
Guitar Hero, if it comes back, how does it come back? Because we're not set. Can you think how expensive those peripherals would be nowadays, considering how expensive they were back in the day?
I'll
double-necked guitars.
Regardless how much it costs, I'll be there day one, because Guitar Hero was my jam, as the kids say. Both the kids today and the kids who used to say fat.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to do it. The AI stuff. This is a terrible week for me, because it's basically me defending things that people say is awful. I was literally just talking about.
I read this piece, Chris, and I was like, "Bless you for retconning. Bless you for reaching out and being a better CEO than Kotick
because
was."
People like I've just been singing the praises of NFTs for once, and now when they originally said, when Kotick said earlier this year that Guitar Hero could be made with AI technology, everyone was like, "Oh, what the fuck!" I could see how it could be used. It's like a lot of problem. Well, you look at remember the Beatles rock band when it came out, there was a bit of funniness going on there because it didn't really play like other Guitar Hero games in that they didn't isolate the audio. They didn't isolate the vocals and the tracks. So when you made a mistake. You know, and usually in Guitar Hero, when you mess up, you're playing guitar and you mess up.
Paul shouted the F word.
Oh, you've done it again. You've messed it up again.
You made a mistake, Paul.
I'm sorry.
When you messed up the guitar in Guitar Hero, it would go bang, and the guitar sound would cut, and everyone else would keep playing.
Yeah.
I think with AI, if an old song doesn't have the master tracks anymore, you could use AI to isolate the tracks and do it that way. So that's one way that you could add songs that previously weren't possible in Guitar Hero. Another way is that you could maybe import your own music or hook up to Spotify and play literally any song in Guitar Hero without them having to worry about licensing. Like that would save them money because technically they don't have to pay any artist because they'll get a Spotify revenue or whatever. So there's different ways it could work. For me, I just want to play plastic guitars again and not with the crap live action thing they did last time.
Yeah, Chris, look, it's just us on this podcast, so I feel comfortable saying this.
I'm pretty comfortable that's the case.
Yeah, you can that dream of being able to play any song you want.
I know you're going to tell me. I know you're going to tell me, but people, you talk about Frets on Fire.
No, Google Clone Hero. All I'm saying. That's all I'll say.
A similar beast.
Google Clone Hero.
We do not endorse any of this kind of thing, but.
Why not?
Having not been aware of Clone Hero and me hearing about it for the first time, definitely. Does that not require people to make songs first?
But people have any song you can think of, some Sado, some Sweaty Git has already made an amazing track for it that's like off harmonic
every song
quality.
Ever. What about Think of You by Wigfield? Is that
I mean,
on it?
maybe.
What about Scatman's
World? What about a Lead Belly classic?
Yeah. What about Scatman's World?
Here's the thing:
There It Is, but specifically the version released by Clock.
What about your My Little Boo thing by Paul Russell, a song I cannot get out of my head?
What about Dreams by Cranberries?
Yeah,
that'll be there. To be fair, that would be
there, definitely. Yeah.
Do they have the VGC podcast team?
Do they have Boom 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 by Out Here Brothers? More importantly,
the mad Sados know all this kind of music. All the music that Pete Donaldson was spinning the discs for back in the day on radio is all there. So yes, look up Clone Hero, and specifically, so the other quirk with Beatles Rock Band was it was the only rock band that didn't export into any other game. Because as you can imagine, wrangling the licenses for the Beatles was a bit difficult. So they were like, okay, we'll keep it all self-contained. You can't move the music to other games. Whereas for Rock Band 1, 2, 3, all of that music, up until a time, could be put into Rock Band 4. But in Clone Hero, not only do they have all the Beatles music, they have the isolated stems from when all the isolated masters were released a few years ago. So it does the thing that you're saying that the original game didn't do. So
look, if Clone Hero has Alicia Rules the World by Alicia's Attic, then I'm interested. And until that day, then I'm all for AI making it possible.
Pete, was your house full of plastic crap back in the day?
I was more of a Rock Band drums guy.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed playing the drums.
Me too.
But yeah, that was very much my jam. But yeah, I do fear for Bobby's AI dream. You just sort of think that, like, I don't know about Clone Hero. I presume it's a hack of Guitar Hero that they've added, or they've made their own game where you put your own music in. Basically,
it's the engine, as far as I can tell. It's the engine from Guitar Hero 4 or 3. It's like,
okay.
it's like the Guitar Hero engine that people are like, that is the one that was at its peak.
Was the best one, right? I see, right. Well, I just think that within seconds, if Activision did it and just threw it open to the people, you'd have maniacs just, noodling away to like one of like Mussolini's speeches or something like that. It would be abused within seconds. It would be shut down within minutes, and we'd just have to move on to whatever very generic experiences Activision see fit to give us.
Well, Activision give us the very best video games in the very best world, so I'm not too worried.
I'm relaxed about it all.
I want DJ Hero back instead.
Oh, me too, brother. DJ. I don't know if there's a DJ Hero equivalent to Clone Hero, but honestly, I feel like we bring up DJ Hero every 20 minutes in this podcast, and every time someone messages me on Twitter, being like, DJ Hero,
still the best two soundtracks in video game history.
What about one of these lads?
Oh, he's got
the
Tomatone,
Kirby one? the Japanese instrument.
Why do you have like 5 of them behind you?
Because every time I used to go to Japan, I used to pick one up.
Oh, okay.
But they are very fragile, as you can see. That's absolutely fall a bit. So they're absolutely
I bought a Kirby one when I was in Japan, but the shaft isn't quite as impressive. Is that?
Well,
it's a small.
I've got a Kumamon one. Yeah, I think I've got. They've got like a lot of Kiss stuff. I don't know. It's run out of batteries. Never mind.
Sad. A sad note to end on. But if you're interested in some of the very best franchise in the world, don't worry, because Activision Blizzard says it expects to start adding the games to Game Pass in 2024. Almost 2 years after the deal was first announced, Microsoft reportedly expects to close the $69 billion acquisition of the Call of Duty and World of Warcraft publisher next week. Well, Microsoft has said it plans to offer as many Activision games as possible within Xbox Game Pass and PC Game Pass. It won't happen straight away, but Activision addressed this in a statement saying, quote, "As we continue to work towards regulatory approval of the Microsoft deal, we've been getting some questions about whether our upcoming and recently launched games will be available via Game Pass. While we do not have plans to put Modern Warfare 3, which is the new one, or Diablo 4 into Game Pass this year, once the deal closes, we expect to start working with Xbox to bring our titles to more players around the world." Chris, you want to know my prediction?
Mm-hmm.
I bet the first day they can do it, Microsoft releases a graphic, and it's every Call of Duty game, apart for the current one, is on Game Pass. What do you think of that?
100%. Like the thing is, like, two things spring to mind when I read this. The first thing is I expect Microsoft reading that saying, "Do you AI?" Because it's basically it's not up to them. As soon as Microsoft take over, like, get them on, like, pronto. Yeah. And the other thing I noticed is that I saw some other sites reporting this as Modern Warfare 3 and Diablo 4 aren't coming to Game Pass, and they very clearly say, while we do not have plans to put Modern Warfare 3 or Diablo 4 into Game Pass this year, and by my reckoning, there's only a month and a half to go, or 2 months and a half to go this year, and then because they can add it in January 2024 for all we know. They're basically saying this so that people buy Modern Warfare 3 on Xbox and don't just say, "I'm going to sit it out and wait till it comes to Game Pass."
Right, yeah.
They're going to get as much sales as they can out of Modern Warfare 3 and Diablo 4 before they hit the switch on that, and going forward, then all your Call of Duties will be available day one on Game Pass. Otherwise, why would they have even bothered in the first place?
Yeah.
Imagine if they just launched with Ice Age Continental Drift. Like that's the only
dream,
one.
That's the
Activision game they launched.
Transformers. That Transformers one.
The Fast and the Furious games.
That's the sad thing. There's so much like licensing crap that will basically omit so much of the Activision stuff from Game Pass. Pete, if you were Johnny Activision, or if you were put in charge of the Activision portfolio, would you do one big drop of loads of stuff, or would you think this will satiate us when there's kind of lean times and the rest of the Game Pass lineup?
I think. Do you not think sort of dropping a load of titles at the same time, where there'll be some backwards compatibility issues here and there, is quite risky? Because you've spent all this money, and if you drop some epoch-defining titles from the Call of Duty lineup all at the same time, and everything falls apart and the multiplayer isn't working properly, it's going to be problematic. So, as I said, either the Ice Age games or Pimp My Ride, from 2008. Drop that one.
I was looking at some of the
and just do it sensibly.
I was looking at the old list of Xbox 360 era games that they could theoretically put on here from republished by Activision. You've got such gems as Big League Sports, Tony Hawk Shred. Although that was the one that was that not the one that needed the skateboard?
What was that one?
Ride and Shred. You had the plastic
plastic
shred. You had the plastic skateboard.
That just like was the biggest disaster in the history of video games. Men in Black, Alien Crisis. I mean, I could go on. All your Cabela hunting games could all just suddenly appear without warning. Much like the beasts that you hunt in it. But so yeah, it's like it is weird though when you look through it. It's like it's all licenses from that era. And
it's like none of this stuff.
I know that's the thing. Like they can't still have they don't still have the Spider-Man license, for example, surely, or the Shrek license, or the Peanuts movie license. So yeah, we'll see.
Tony Hawk's the big question. Obviously, they'll put 1+2 on there, but
and 5.
Yeah, and 5. I wonder if like the skaters were probably a specific license and the music was a specific license. It wouldn't just be a case of you couldn't just go into the ROM of Underground and mute all the music and then just put any old music on it and make that work. Like there's so much that would have to be done. But I think if Microsoft want a hearts and minds win, they come out and say we're getting them to do a Tony Hawk 3+4 remake, and Christopher Dring bursts into flames with excitement.
Lagwagon is on board. I mean, half the bands that were on like the two, well, certainly, you know, the most iconic soundtrack, they were like not unlovable, but they were like bands on labels like Fat Records and stuff like that. We're not talking about
we're talking Fat PH.
We're not talking about trying to license Taylor Swift.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We're not trying to license like big like Prince or anything. We're trying to license, you know, the odd track from Lagwagon and the Swinging.
But the thing is, if you re-release like the old ones, like I'm thinking 360 era American Skateland or Wasteland or whatever the hell it was called. Do you then have to pay rights to all the official skaters that were in it again? Like does Alyssa Steamer get a cut?
Or the Homeless Men? Yeah,
exactly. Or does Bob Burnquist like say, "Hey,
wait
a minute,
we don't talk crap about Bob Burnquist on this program." Certainly not. So.
This is very much a pro Bucky Lasek podcast.
if we're going to re-release Underground 2, does Phil Margera get a cut? Does Phil Margera get a bit of the sweetness?
Oh yeah, he
was
all
going on strike, so Eric Costin gets a wage. Yeah, but it's like you're talking with licensed people. Obviously, they must have done a deal for 1 and 2, like to use their likenesses again, and it's like if they decide to dig back into the depths, is the expense worth it? I mean, I'd say so. Surely they're not paying them a fortune.
Is Chad Muska still kicking a ball? That's the question. Mike Vallely.
Mullen.
Wee Man.
I forgot Wee Man was the one of them, really.
Yeah.
Well, of course,
he was a skater before
the
Jackass,
other problem you've got is the hidden skaters that were in a lot of these games were licensed. Because remember, Darth Maul was in it once, and Wolverine was in
Spider-Man.
it. So,
do you remember when they had a version of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3? I think that was a Korean girl band.
That's right.
As well.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Where there was like an exclusive Korean release that just instead of skaters, they stuck these 4 idols in it.
Amazing.
I'm sure
Get Blackpink.
I'm sure Gene Simmons was in one as well as a hidden character.
Yeah.
Yes.
He'll want his pound of flesh, won't he?
So that's the other.
So you
problem.
imagine whoever's in charge of that just goes, no, can't be bothered. It's simply too much
Talking to him again.
to work out. But unfortunately, we have to take a break to go and negotiate Pete's appearance fee for this. He won't be in the remake of this podcast, but we'll try and make up for it. We'll see you in a minute. And we are back. Pete Donaldson in this second half will be played by
Pete Davidson.
Who do you look like, Pete? The thing is, Pete, you look like everybody, so it's always so difficult to get a looky-likey for you.
He'll be played by Mark.
Yeah. generic man from Eastern Europe, I think. Any young Eastern Europe football manager, I invariably look like from like east of Ukraine. Yeah.
GTA 4's Pete Donaldson. Next story. Disney boss is reportedly being urged to consider acquiring a big game publisher like EA. Big Bob Iger's deputies are reportedly telling him to acquire a major gaming publisher. That's according to Bloomberg, feature examining the current state of Disney, which claims senior executives want Iger to explore the possibility of transforming the company from a gaming licensee to a gaming giant with major first-party capabilities. However, Disney's boss is said to have been non-committal about the prospect of acquiring a game publisher. Iger, who is now in his second run as CEO of Disney, he had to come back and fix the ship, oversaw the acquisition of Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm and 21st Century Fox during his spell in charge, as well as working on various Star Wars titles, including Respawn's Star Wars Jedi series. EA announced last year that it struck a deal to make several new games based on Marvel properties, including Iron Man and Black Panther. It was reported in May that EA was actively pursuing a sale or merger in the wake of the recent activity in the games industry, such as Microsoft's $69 billion deal. According to news site Puck, is that?
I think it's just called Puck. I think that's a typo.
Yeah, Chuppa Chup claimed that EA had held talks with Disney, Apple, Amazon, and Comcast. This is all one company, by the way. Comcast, NBC, Universal, over a potential sale. During an earnings call, Activision EA CEO and notable robot Andrew Wilson, when asked about this, said, quote, "First, I'm sure you don't expect me to comment on rumours and speculation from some small red media outlets, burn. But be that as it may, I would tell you, I think we're in an incredible position. We're soon to be the largest standalone independent developer, that lovely wee indie studio known as EA, and publisher of interactive entertainment in the world." He added, "I think we're growing across platforms, we're growing across business models, and we're growing across geographies. In a world where gaming is becoming more important to the lives of Gen Z and Gen Alpha, who will be leading the generations in terms of consumption, entertainment for the future, I don't think we could be in a stronger position as a standalone company." Chris,
yes.
If it's one thing that I think the Disney Corporation needs, it's more companies. What do you think?
I think it's a non-starter. It's especially also if there's one thing the Disney Corporation doesn't need, it's scandal about loot boxes. Because the problem with a company like Disney is, regardless of what they buy, everyone will always point to the Disney side of it, the Disney arm of it, and say, you're supposed to be family friendly. So if they were ever to buy EA, who's the vast majority, or if not the majority, a hell of a chunk of change from their profits comes from Ultimate Team loot boxes, suddenly there's a moral issue there that Disney, and not that Disney's morally squeaky clean, said squeaks coming from Mickey Mouse, of course. It's still a dodgy one to buy, I think. So
they'd buy Nintendo, wouldn't they?
I think that would be
a
like,
more.
Can you imagine? It's just like.
I'd take a sabbatical of 6 months just to avoid all of that, because Jesus Christ.
I don't see them ever buying it. I think if they ever were to buy anyone, it would be, I don't know. I don't think it would be anyone that big. But I don't know. I don't think they're interested. I think they're more interested in licensing it out, licensing their properties out, and just making the money that way, because there's less there's less expense that way. And if something goes tits up, they don't go, oh, well, we're stuck with a publisher here that's not doing it. Like if EA messes up these Marvel games, well, you look at what happened with the Avengers game. They've obviously just went, okay, stuff that, EA, your turn. So they're not stuck with a developer or a publisher that isn't getting the job done. So I don't think they're going to buy a publisher. I think Iger's right to be cautious.
Do you not think that do you not think that a lot of these men, and it is mainly men in boardrooms, are watching Hollywood at the moment, and most films released this year have been about a company acquisition of sorts. You know, BlackBerry being made, the Nike Corporation making a shoe. They're all really boring boardroom stories, and these guys just want to put their name in history to talk about these acquisitions, so that their job seems more heroic and interesting. I cannot stand these machinations, or these proposed machinations. Just feed the noughts and ones down the pipe, and I'll use them for my own dirty deeds. But I'm just like this kind of, we might do this, we might do that. We're not going to comment on that. Either do it or don't do it. Don't worry about it. Puck, indeed.
It's just, I don't know.
Bloody
it's just
puck.
infuriating. I'm bored with it now. I was bored with the Microsoft Activision thing 3 weeks after it was announced, and it's been nearly 2 years now. I think it's just get it done. Just go on with it.
I personally don't really understand as you kind of say, why would Disney invite in that ball ache of the last time they had a gaming division, it all went so badly that they just had to throw it all to the wind, and now they've just built up they've got this kind of multi-tendril approach where they've given Sony the Spider-Man licenses, and those first two Spider-Man games seem great, and the Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales, by the way, Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales, I'm not commenting on the quality of Spider-Man 2, so just relax, everyone, calm down. The EA stuff is, look how badly things went when only EA was allowed to make Star Wars games for a decade. Disney got so angry they had to phone them and be like, take those loot boxes out of Battlefront 2. Don't say that we told you to do it, but we get them out of there. Can you imagine receiving the call from Disney? I like to picture there was just a red phone on the desk that only connected to Bob Iger's desk. When that starts ringing, it's over.
They pick up the phone and you say, "Oh, hello, is this EA?" Oh no, it's the mouse. It's the big cheese.
The big cheese.
There we go.
That's the big cheese. There we go.
So I suppose what you're saying is that this is a headache that Disney need.
Oh, there we go. I wish I'd came up with that, but I'm simply not talented enough. I've had enough of the merger crap. I would just I would like publishers like my good friends over at Activision to make the very best games in the very best world.
Although I'll tell you what Activision needs. Activision, which makes the very best games in the very best world available, should do a deal with FIFA to make the best esports game for e-boys and e-girls in the e-world.
Yeah. Was can we get Gianni Infantino on the show? I mean, he was
he could only improve it.
Yeah, he was.
We had Ethan Lawrence on. I'm sure we can get Infantino on.
Today I feel like a VGC host.
Exactly. Today I feel like wasting money on ridiculously overpriced Lego sets because Lego Animal Crossing is here. We have pictures of the sets. It's not tenuous when you hear the price of these bloody sets. Again, this is a visual feature. Get your phone, drive your car into a ravine, get your phone out, Google Animal Crossing Lego.
Phone the emergency services first, and then Google the pictures while you're waiting.
You'll phone the emergency services because you'll have a heart attack over these prices.
It's not bad. It's pretty reasonable for Lego.
Oh,
it ramps up. It ramps up after Isabel's house visit at $39.
Yeah.
The one after that, which I presume, I don't know Animal Crossing that well, that seems to be the one that people will want.
Oh yeah.
Carry on, Jordan.
Yeah, we've got 5 sets here. The first one, Julian's birthday party, which is £16.
Julian Clary, I should point out. It's a really odd crossover.
Sounds like a Julian's birthday party. Sounds like it could be written on a VHS you found in the bed.
Yeah.
Do not tape over.
He's just going to come out and do a double
Julian's
entendre.
birthday party.
170 pieces. Then we've got Bunny's Outdoor Adventures again.
Another video you found.
VHS
100. Bunny's Outdoor Adventures is less pieces than Julian's birthday party. Yeah, it's a 5 or more because Lego just like to go.
Listen, those adventures are wild though.
Yeah. Captain's Island Boat Tour. Do not get on Captain's Island Boat Tour. You will not return the same person.
Stabbing, remember that guy?
I mean, Oh my god, I make reference.
Bizarre pornography du jour.
I make references to Captain Stabbing all the time, and no one knows what I'm talking about. Of course, Pete, you're the man.
To be fair, the only other person I talked about Captain Stabbing because it makes me laugh. It's a horrible
when you look
name.
At this,
is a man from Aberdeen. Maybe it's a Scottish.
See, when you look at this, every single one of these sets has a porn title name. So we've already established really Julian's birthday party, Bunny's outdoor adventures, Captain's Island boat tour, maybe. Isabel's house visit.
Isabel's visit in the house.
And then Nook's Cranny, which is just, and Rosie's house. It's just like, come on.
That's a double feature. Yeah. That's why it's so expensive, because you get 2 videos.
That's a compilation of the favourite scenes.
VHS tapes.
Look. So am I right in saying that Tom Nook, he's the sleepy looking Tanuki kind of guy?
Yeah.
He's the main guy, and because I never played it. And that's his house is $74.
And it's not even his house. It's like a little facade of like the front. It's like the front door and a bit of a wall. Like he is not. There's nowhere.
He's very much the Ron Jeremy of the series.
Yeah.
Classic Nook.
It's just a bit extreme. Like I'm looking at comparative. Okay, look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to invoke the Harry Potter franchise. So everyone, keep your hands to yourselves. God rest it.
R.I.P.
But you can get like Dumbledore's office, which is a bit more significant. It comes with like 7 figures and stuff like that. It has 200 more pieces.
I've not watched a lot of Harry Potter, so what is
Imagine a kid for Christmas saying, I want Dumbledore's office. I can slap my thigh.
I want his file effects.
I mean, for also the same price, you can get Hogsmeade Village Visit, which comes with 2 shops.
Again, God, is there a Lego set that doesn't sound like a goddamn 80s porno, Jordan? Surely not.
I mean, are you interested in the Shrieking Shack and the Whomping Willow? Because you can get that.
I mean, horrific, absolutely horrific.
But the point
why would you want seriously do a Lego set of an office? Is that an iconic scene from the film? Somebody's office.
So, I mean, have you seen?
I've not seen a single one. I've read a single book. Have they got like Voldemort's toilet?
Well, no, but I mean, they have a set in the Chamber of Secrets which you get into via a literal toilet. So it's not worth going into. She's ruined my fucking childhood. Apologies for the language. There is scenes in Dumbledore's office which makes it something that people would want if they're still that way inclined. But the point is, licensed Lego is always way more expensive than normal Lego because they have to pay the people. But this seems like a real jump. Chris, you got how much of that Mario Lego did you get?
See, this is the thing. It's like I didn't buy any of it. I only bought the
stole it all.
all the stuff that the kids could play with, the kind of playable Mario sets. I didn't get any of those. I only got the characters, the kind of blind bag minifigs that they brought out, where it's basically all wee Mario enemies that you can build. I only got those. So I didn't buy any of the sets, and obviously I bought the kind of the big ones like the Question Block and the Big Bowser and all that, the kind of adult ones. Although these are all adult ones by the sounds of it. But I don't think this is terrible. Like especially the $15.99 and $19.99. That's about in line with like Lego Friends stuff because my daughter's into that just now. By the way, I don't recommend the Lego Friends TV show on Netflix because it's a pile of arse. And also like the only thing I'm disappointed by, I'm going to be buying all these just to be totally transparent. But I'm disappointed Nook's Cranny isn't as big as it could be. It looks like half a shop. Like there's like
it's a cranny, Chris.
I know, but even a cranny, even the cranny can kind of expand as the game goes on. This is like Nook's Cranny circa day one of your Animal Crossing experience.
Be the change you want to be. Just add weird bits of Lego you brought. That's what I don't. Not being a Lego collector or a Lego user all that much because again, I don't have kids as well, so that would probably enthuse me a bit more to the end. Like these sets, you build them to the exact specification that you get, but presumably you can. Is it a bit of a faux pas? Is it a bit gauche to add in your own bits, like a little Nook annex or something?
I think it depends. Like, so there are people that specifically will buy like 3 copies of the same set to make like a bigger version of it with the same bits and pieces and stuff like that.
Fair.
And yeah, because you see it a lot with a lot of Star Wars sets. They'll maybe release like it's the facade of a building, like you get one half of it or something like that, and then the back half is maybe where you play, but someone will just buy two of them and like put them together. So like this Animal Crossing one, they're all built on these base plates, and you're meant to make your own island. So that they do seem to suggest
designed for
that you
play.
can kind of mix
It's
up
designed
a bit.
for play rather than display. But I'm more of a displayer than a player. So
I've heard.
which is why I'm not allowed anywhere near a school.
That's why we're not at EGX this weekend, because of the unpleasantness. I just had a real revelation. Nook's cranny, because of like every nook and cranny, that expression. That never got that.
This is the modern day Miles Prower.
It's the modern day Phoenix Down. Like that was another one that I never got. Like the Scottish education system isn't quite what it used to be, and that's why I'm back in the Scottish Conservative. Anyway, I shan't be buying this shite. How long till Zelda, Chris? Surely they're going to do a Zelda one. Come on, John.
I mean, you would hope so, but they would have done it by now, surely. But was there not a leak about a Deku Tree or something? Or was that? Am I totally imagining?
Oh yeah, so like an image for a Deku Tree appeared in an internal thing that they sent to retailers, being like, if we were going to do this, would you be keen on it? We're not going to tell you what license it is, but there's a wee green elfie guy in this big tree that can talk. So everyone was like, oh yeah, okay, so they're actually going to do Zelda stuff. So maybe that's
well, if you're releasing Ginny Weasley's study, then batter in, I'll take a big tree. since you're releasing Pish, might as well just go the whole hog.
Look, it's iconic scenes from the film, such as 12 Grimald Place, the Polyjuice Potion mistake.
I'm thinking of 10 Rillington Place.
Give us a Pitfall Lego system. It's just the video game Pitfall.
Was Pitfall one of the ones that came on the Atari Lego set?
No, because Pitfall was Activision. Remember, Activision's got the best games.
The best games in the best world.
Best games licenses, Jordan. We just spoke about
Atari
it.
games that was in the Atari set.
My mistake. That's it for the news, but I've had a really exciting week because last night I went to Asda and I was greeted by the visage of Vinicius Jr. and Leah Williamson from FC24 on this big standee of Pepsi, and it was like, do you want FC Ultimate Team things? Buy this Pepsi and you can get some. So obviously, being a consumerist pig dog that I am, I bought some bottles of FC24 Pepsi and redeemed the code. Didn't work. Well, the code worked, didn't get the content. And then I looked at what you actually get. You get like one player or something like that, but the really exciting thing is you get a kit with like the old Pepsi logos on it.
That's quite cool, actually.
I like that. CM Punk style.
Exactly. I wanted it to be a kit based on, the Gladiator advert. We were speaking about Beckham before the show, the old Gladiator Pepsi advert, something like that. But this led me to ask the Twitterati, the blob, what their favourite gaming food crossover was. We had a lot of shouts for Bachelor's Cross Final Fantasy VII Remake. So you would go into a shop and see Tifa from Final Fantasy VII on a packet of barbecue beef super noodles, which I liked a lot.
The dream becomes reality.
Yeah,
but it is, isn't it weird how like video games are regarded? I'd go into that shop and go, good for them, good for Final Fantasy, getting on.
It's like, Cloud Strife is on a packet of pasta and sauce, cheese and broccoli edition. Chris, this is one for the old heads. Wall's Donkey Kong Country ice cream. Was that on this show?
That's a deep dive. I remember that. I do remember that. I more remember Super Mario Lemonado, which was released in. You used to get that in Woolworths pick and mixes back in the days, along with Mr. Blobby Pink Lemonade.
Do not drink Mr. Blobby's Pink Lemonade.
That's another porn film.
It's worse than Buckfast. And yeah, absolutely loopy. It's a fortified blobby wine. Who made this for children?
I vaguely remember the Donkey Kong Country ice cream. That's going back.
Was it like a sort of? Was it in the
shape of something? But I can't remember.
The characters,
I can't remember.
Right.
I say it was Donkey Kong's face, but that may be absolute nonsense.
So it was submitted to the podcast with the let me just name the person. It was submitted by Tom Chapman, who says the Donkey Kong Country Walls ice cream. Basically, no photos online exist other than this single photo of the wrapper, and it's proper like bloody like evidence crime scene stuff. That's like this is there's going to be a perfectly preserved wrapper of that like in someone's kitchen, like down the back of like a cabinet or something like that, which would be great to see.
The video game fans will treat it like they've just found like a lost video game on an old hard drive from a dev house.
It'll get sent to Frank Cifaldi. Shouts for the PS5 launch day Greg's deal, which I remember.
I hated that. I was very much let down by that.
What was it?
So around about the same time, or around about that time, Xbox did a Forza donut deal with Krispy Kreme. And it wasn't. Sorry, the Forza one came later. It was just an Xbox.
Yeah, it was
deal.
just an Xbox.
But you could get donuts with like an X on them, and they're like, "Oh, all right, they've made a bit of effort here." I believe it was a fudge flavor that was dyed green just for yucks. And so then Sony announced this Greg's deal, where you could buy a Greg's box set with special PlayStation packaging on it. I'm like, I'm getting that, and I believe that it was the PlayStation icons on it, like the square and the circle and the triangle, but made out of Greg's things. A yum. as etc. So I remember ordering it and opening it up, and it was just like a sausage roll, and like it's just like normal Greg's food, just in a fancy box. And I was like, well, that's deeply disappointing.
And the steak bake is literally like the shape of a PS5.
Just literally carve a wee light in it. They're just shoved on. But yeah.
The what Chris was referring to was the Nexus level Xbox donut. I'm going to read the review here from Jordan Midler on overload.co.uk. RIP.
God rest
You'll appreciate this. You'll appreciate this strapline. Do not bother. That's all right, isn't it?
While you read that, I'm going to see what I wrote for VGC, because it was one of the rare times I was allowed to actually make jokes on VGC. Okay, on you go.
The Nexus level donut is around £5 for 3 donuts, meaning for 6 donuts you could get around a month of Xbox Game Pass. Xbox are explicitly saying here that 6 donuts is as good as Halo Infinite. If that doesn't send a shiver down your spine, I don't know what will. I didn't end up concluding this review from the toilet, thankfully, but these Xbox donuts were my breakfast, so my stomach is empty, though not as empty as I feel after eating them, dear reader. 5 out of 10.
Lovely stuff, John. When you start comparing sustenance to how expensive video games are, it's a different. You do sort of go, I could get a whole video game for that. I'm not.
So on my VGC blog of July 2021, I went down a similar path with the headline. I went for I simply do not believe what Xbox and Krispy Kreme are doing, and then explained the Greg's thing and how disappointing the Greg's thing was, and then ended up saying. Which is dodgy. Even better, I say at one point, they're only 370 calories, meaning you can eat 5 of them every day, and as long as you eat nothing else, you'll still be under your recommended daily calorie intake. and then they say, if you buy a dozen of the things, you'll also be able to enter a competition for a chance to win a Series S, and even if you don't, you'll win a voucher for a free month of Game Pass. And if you're thinking, what if I don't have an Xbox, then why are you jamming Xbox pastries into your word hole? Why? Yeah, that's the level of quality that you missed out on if you're not a long time VGC reader, because
all that shows is that Andy is doing God's work, keeping us contained to writing like serious journalism.
When they brought the Forza ones out, I then wrote Krispy Kreme's new Xbox tie-in gives new meaning to doing donuts in Forza, which I'm quite proud of.
More food tie-ins, please send more in. We had a lot of shouts for energy juice, which I really liked when Halo got delayed a year, but they still sold the energy drink rights to Monster. So there was Halo Infinite Monster on the shelves a year before the game came out, and Master Chief was just like, well,
it's delicious.
I don't know what game I'm going to be part of, but
somebody I know was working for a rival organisation doing a Starfield Lucozade promo, which is obviously that was the only kind of like bit of promo I think Starfield did, was like a bottle of Lucozade, and so they were doing like a I think it was a band on or something in the town, and like a Starfield far-field event for the punters, and they made them go around and interview all the punters saying, what's your favourite flavour of Lucozade? And nobody had any interest in answering it accurately. There's orange, maybe a passion fruit, and then who the fuck knows?
Orange,
it's Lucozade.
The answer is original. Always.
Controversially,
it's just original, isn't it? Yeah.
My favourite ever Lucozade they don't make anymore. It was Melonade, and it was like melon flavoured Lucozade. It was absolutely delicious.
Very Japanese.
And as soon as it started appearing in shops, it was bountiful, and I was like, I'm the only person buying this. So there was no way this was going to stay on shop shelves. And since then, it's been gone.
It's like me in the mid.
I'll take you way back to late 80s, very early 90s. I used to dabble in Lucozade Light, which was a kind of low calorie version of Lucozade, and it came in a glass green bottle with dimples on it. I remember it well. It was a lovely beverage. No longer with us, God rest it.
Sounds woke.
It's pretty woke.
Certainly does sound woke.
Lara Croft Lucozade is obviously the one that a lot of people from a certain generation remember. Because remember, there's loads of adverts for it, with her getting chased by wolves and then pausing the game to drink Lucozade, and then firing bullets up their rump.
Yeah,
there's plenty of like sort of food brands going the other way, you know. But it is rarer to sort of see the video game world being represented in on the side of packaging, isn't it?
Because obviously you get Chupa Chups and Zool and all that, the kind of classic ones.
Yeah, McDonald's Global Gladiators.
There was a good wee resurgence when like Subway and Uncharted 3 did the promotion where you could get like a fat Nathan Drake in the game if you bought Subway sandwiches and stuff like that. But
tell you my favourite one of all time in terms of going the other way, like games and products in games,
brands in
was
games.
The UK release of Biker Mice from Mars on the Super Nintendo, right? And in the American version, you could you when you finish a race, you can upgrade your bike with different things, and one of the things you upgrade your bike with is armor, and armor costs $2,000 in the game, right? In the UK version, they teamed up with Mars, funnily enough, and put Snickers branding all over the bloody game, right? So they placed the main power up with a Snickers bar, which makes you go wild. When you finish a race, you see one of the biker mice holding the Snickers bar saying, only Snickers satisfies my hunger. But then in the shop when you upgrade your bike, they replaced the armor with a Snickers bar, and it still costs $2,000. And in the manual, it tries to justify this. It says, in the future, Snickers is the only nutritious food left to provide hunger, so its value has risen dramatically. That's amazing. So stock up on Snickers now, because it's about to cost $2,000 in the future.
Not into Snickers personally. I'm much more of a double decker man. On that note, next week we've got bits and pieces. Firstly, I've been keeping a secret from all of you people. Sony released new like earbuds that are for audio listeners. You can watch the show on YouTube. I'm currently holding them up to the camera. They're like AirPods, but they're like PlayStation Sony gamer AirPods, and they're pretty good. I've been using them for a while. I'll put a review up next week, but that's not the review you cared about next week. Next week we will have our Spider-Man 2 review. I have completed the game, and on Monday we will have the review, some videos, and we will also have a podcast special where I will assemble the great and the available of the UK's games media wokerati, sorry, and we will talk through the game for an hour, spoiler free, because if we give any spoilers, Jim Ryan will appear at my house and batter my melt in. So
I hear that at one point Spider-Man eats a chomp. Carry on.
Literally not.
I saw the leak in which is a 20-minute monologue in which Spider-Man moans that toffee crisps are substantially smaller than they used to be.
Again, I cannot confirm or deny the shrinkflation rant.
He web slings a spiral into his mouth.
He just turns up.
He just pulls out a packet of those like white candy fags that used to have Spider-Man on top of them.
It pretends to smoke one. Yeah. At one point, he turns to Miles and says, "Do you remember Iron Brew bars?" And Miles, "That's before my time, mate." Plus, I'm American.
God, I loved Iron Brew bars. Iron Brew bars and Highland Toffee is why I almost got diabetes in the 80s. I mean, just good stuff.
I wasn't allowed Iron Brew bars because it was the only. For some reason, my mum got it in her head that specific sweet had some special chemical X in it that sent me absolutely
They were
loopy.
angry sweets, to be fair. They were like
A wham bar
like,
or a Vinto bar that was probably made like next door. It was just like, yeah, no problem. But see, an iron brew
If
bar,
I was
it's
to,
gonna send you
at
round the
40
twist.
years old now, if I was to bite into an iron brew bar and pull it out, every single one of my teeth would be attached to it.
my teeth would start screaming. My stomach would start. The lining would shear off my stomach.
Incredible
It's
to think
proper
that.
nuclear. It used to, every single. It was we'd go swimming and then I'd have like something like 25p and like the iron brew bars I think were 10p. Highland toffee was 5 or the long ones were 10. And I would just sit there and just devour a vending machine's worth of Highland toffee and iron brew bars. I mean. Good God, what that did to me.
It must have absolutely
done me.
I should point out people should keep an eye out on the site tomorrow, as in Friday. We're recording this on Thursday. There's a review. I've got a review coming up for a game. Let's just say that there's no need to be blue if you think that Mario's the only one hogging the limelight.
Duncan James is going to be on VGC.
Hot Wheels 2 review coming soon.
If you're a sexual deviant, check out VGC tomorrow. You can also check out VGC's YouTube and TikTok, VGC_news for the TikTok. Just Google VGC for YouTube. Wade through all the Pokemon.
I know, cut through all the video game championships of Pokemon.
Send your questions, comments, concerns, video game food tie-ins and abuse to Chris Scullion to podcast@videogameschronicle.com. I very much enjoyed throughout the week looking at my phone and just seeing a random Pokemon's name as people were getting codes for the Modern Warfare beta. Even long after I'd sent them all out, I would just look at my phone at like 9 at night and be like, Snorlax. Oh, okay, that's nice. I do like Snorlax. Good choice. Thank you for listening. You can follow myself on X. Lots of good stuff on X. At Jordan Midler. Chris at Scully1888. Pete at Pete Donaldson. Pete, you on Blue Sky yet, mate? Are you on the new hotness?
I think I got through. I think I registered my name a couple of days ago, but I've not indulged fully. Is it fun? Is it good?
Crap. It's not like the horribleness and weirdness of Twitter. It's all just very well.
That's just because there's not anyone on it.
Yeah.
Once Twitter dies, all that.
I'm enjoying the new algorithm. I'm enjoying the new I keep on getting sent on the Twitter algorithm moments before disaster, and it's just all the last photographs of men who are stuck in a hole or on a cliff or something. Oh God.
Here's the last photo of Freddie Mercury taken through a bush, and he's just looking off in. It's like, oh, good. I wanted to see this.
Hello, darling.
We'd like to...
I'm about to die. Goodbye. Hello. Goodbye.
Can you believe that Netflix documentary confirmed that his cousin killed Jill Dando? Look that up. We'd like to thank the great Grant Kirkhope for the VGC podcast theme. Say goodbye, Pete.
R.I.P. Captain Stabbing.
Say goodbye, Chris.
Goodbye, Chris.
If there's a Captain Stabbing mantle to be taken up, I am free, and we'll see.
You'll be in Isabel's house visit part 2.
Right, that'll do.
That'll do.